The Great War had lasted longer than anyone had hoped. For 10 long years, the Terran Coalition and the Galactic Federation had fought the mighty Zarnathi Empire. The stars were filled with battleships and the sound of distant explosions. Entire worlds had been destroyed. But now at last, humanity stood victorious. Commander Helena Cross looked out from the bridge of the Terran flagship Resolute. The Zarnathi capital ship, Emperor's Wrath, was crippled and silent in the dark space ahead. It floated like a fallen giant, its great engines dead and its weapons cold. The once powerful alien king Zelthar was trapped inside. Helena's heart was heavy. The war had taken many lives, both human and alien, but now she had the power to end it. The question was what kind of ending she wanted. Her soldiers waited, tense and ready. The order to storm the enemy ship had already been given. Yet, Helena raised her hand to stop them. "Hold," she said firmly. The room fell silent. "We will not kill the king," Helena said. "We will not execute him. We will take him alive." Her officers exchanged surprised looks. Some frowned, others nodded, slowly. In all their training, victory often meant total defeat for the enemy, but Helena believed that mercy could bring more than war ever could. "We must hear what he has to say," she continued. "If we kill him, the war may end here, but the hatred will grow. If we show strength with honor, we may gain an ally." Instead, her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus, spoke quietly. "But Commander, the Zarnathi have been our enemies for decades. Can we trust them?" Helena looked at him, her eyes steady. "Trust must be earned, but it begins with a choice. We choose mercy today." The boarding teams prepared their gear. The airlock to the Emperor's Wrath opened with a hiss. Soldiers in powered armor moved carefully through the dark corridors, their weapons ready. The ship smelled of burnt circuits and old metal. Broken panels and flickering lights told the story of the great battle that had just ended. At the heart of the ship, in the throne room, sat King Zelthar. His tall, slender frame was draped in rich robes that shimmered with alien patterns. His skin was a deep shade of blue, and his many eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Though he looked calm, his face showed the weight of defeat. Helena entered with her team. The king did not rise but looked at her with a mixture of respect and caution. "Commander Helena Cross of Earth," he said in a voice both strong and tired, "you have shown mercy where many would not." "Why?" Helena stepped forward. "Because we are not just soldiers. We are humans who believe in a better future. We did not fight to destroy your people but to protect our own. Now the war is over. It is time for peace." Zelthar's eyes narrowed slightly. "Peace? After blood and fire? That is a strange offer from a conqueror." "I am no conqueror," Helena replied. "I am a protector. We could have ended your empire today. Instead, we offer a chance to rebuild." The king studied her. After a long silence, he finally nodded. "You have strength and honor. It is rare to find both in war." Helena sensed the moment was right. "Then speak with us. Tell us what you want." Zelthar's many eyes shifted. "I have ruled my people for 1,000 cycles. I have seen many enemies and many betrayals. But now I see something different in you." He paused, then continued. "I offer a gift to your people in return for your mercy." Helena frowned slightly. "A gift?" "The daughter of the king," Zelthar said. "Princess Sarai." Helena's breath caught. She had heard legends of Sarai, a woman of great intelligence, strength, and wisdom, a bridge between worlds. The king's voice grew firm. "She will live among you, learn your ways, and become a symbol of peace between our peoples." Helena looked at her officers. No one spoke. The offer was both surprising and dangerous. "Why would you give your daughter to us?" Helena asked carefully. "Because I believe in peace," Zelthar answered. "Because the future of our people depends on your future as well." Helena considered the risk, but she also saw the opportunity, a chance to end the war not with more fighting but with hope. She turned back to the king. "We accept your gift, but she will be treated with honor." Zelthar bowed his head in respect. "And I will send her soon. You will find she is more than just a daughter. She is a guide to what our people once were, and what they can be again." The message was clear. The war was over, but a new story was about to begin. As the Emperor's wrath drifted silently in space, Helena knew this moment would be remembered for generations. Mercy had spared a king, and in return, the galaxy might gain a new hope. Outside, the ship stars sparkled cold and distant, but inside the Resolute, the light of a new alliance was beginning to shine. The war was finally over, but the quiet after the storm was filled with questions and uncertainty. Commander Helena Cross returned to Earth with a heavy burden. The offer from King Zelthar still echoed in her mind. His daughter, Princess Sarai, would come to live among humanity. It was a gift of peace, but also a challenge. At the United Nations headquarters, leaders from all over Earth gathered in a vast chamber. The room buzzed with whispers and debates. The war had cost billions of lives, and trust was fragile. Many questioned the wisdom of sparing the alien king, and even more doubted the gift he offered. President Alvarez, a stern but thoughtful leader, addressed the assembly. "We have defeated the Zarnathi Empire. Now we must decide what comes next. Commander Cross has brought a proposal from the enemy, a peace offering in the form of their princess." A representative from the Terran military stood to speak. "With all due respect, Mr. President, this could be a trap. The Zarnathi are proud and cunning. Giving them a place here, even their princess, may only invite more trouble." Helena stood and raised her voice. "I understand your fears, but I believe this is our chance to change the future. We fought to protect our people, not to become conquerors ourselves. If we refuse peace now, the war will never truly end." The chamber fell silent as her words sank in. Some nodded, others looked unsure. The ambassador from the Galactic Federation, a wise and patient diplomat named Mara, spoke next. "History has shown us that mercy often leads to alliances stronger than steel. I support Commander Cross. This is not a sign of weakness, but of strength." After hours of debate, a vote was taken. By a narrow margin, the assembly agreed to accept King Zelthar's gift. Princess Sarai would come to Earth, not as a prisoner, but as a guest and a symbol of peace. Meanwhile, preparations began to receive the alien princess. On a quiet starport near Earth's orbit, Helena watched the ship from which Sarai would arrive. It was smaller than the massive war vessels, but elegant and fast. The crew aboard the Resolute prepared to welcome her, ready for any outcome. The ship landed softly, its hull gleaming in the artificial light of the station. The airlock opened, and out stepped Princess Sarai. She was taller than most humans, with a graceful, slender frame. Her skin was pale violet, and her large, bright eyes reflected intelligence and curiosity. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, framing a calm but serious face. She moved with quiet confidence, her every step careful and measured. Helena approached her, extending a hand. "Welcome to Earth, Princess Sarai. We are honored to have you here." Sarai took the hand, her grip firm but polite. "Thank you, Commander. I come with hope, though I understand your people may find it hard to trust me." Helena smiled gently. "Trust is built over time. We will walk this path together." As Sarai settled into life on Earth, she faced many challenges. The human world was strange and new, full of customs and ideas she had never known. But she learned quickly. She attended meetings with leaders, studied human culture, and even trained with the Terran military. Many people were curious about her, but some were suspicious. Rumors spread that she was a spy, or worse, a hidden weapon. But Sarai answered every question with honesty and respect. One evening, during a gathering at the Earth Space Council, Sarai spoke to a room full of diplomats and officers. "My father spared your people," Commander Helena said. She began, her voice calm but clear. "He did so because he believed peace was possible. I am here to honor that promise." She paused, looking around the room. "But I must warn you, there are Those among my own kind who do not accept this peace. They see the king's mercy as weakness and will try to undo it. The room grew tense. Helena stepped forward. We will protect Princess Sarai. Together, we will face any threat. Despite the warmth of some, Sarai could feel the weight of suspicion and fear in others. The war had left deep scars and not everyone was ready to forgive. One day, Sarai received a private message from an unknown source. It was a warning. Not all who call you daughter are your friends. Watch your back. She showed the message to Helena. The commander frowned. This confirms our fears. There are still enemies out there. Sarai nodded. But I will not be afraid. My father's trust in you has given me a new path. Helena smiled. And we will walk it with you. In the weeks that followed, Sarai grew closer to Helena and the human people. She shared stories of the Zarnathi Empire, its history, its triumphs, and its mistakes. She taught new ways of thinking about leadership and honor, showing humanity that even a former enemy could become a teacher. Helena, in turn, shared human stories of resilience and hope. Together they built bridges between two very different worlds. But the threat remained. One quiet night, as Sarai returned to her quarters, she sensed movement behind her. A shadow slipped through the hall. Before she could react, a figure lunged forward, an attacker, from her own people disguised as a human. Sarai caught the assailant's wrist with skill and strength she had learned during her training. "Why do you attack me?" she demanded. The attacker hissed, "You betray the Zarnathi. The king's mercy is weakness. You will pay for this." Sarai's eyes narrowed. "I do not betray my people. I protect them by choosing peace." With a swift move, she disarmed the attacker and signaled for help. Helena and guards arrived quickly, securing the area. "This was no accident," Helena said grimly. "Someone wants to break the peace, and they start with you, Sarai." Sarai looked at Helena with determination. "Then I will stand even stronger." The attack made one thing clear: peace would not come easily. The path ahead was dangerous, but Sarai and humanity were ready. And the story of the alien king's daughter living among humans was just beginning. Life on Earth was not easy for Princess Sarai. Though she had the protection of Commander Helena, Cross, and the Terran Coalition, many people remained wary of the alien princess who now walked their cities and halls of power. Sarai understood their fear. After all, her people, the Zarnathi, had been humanity's greatest enemy for centuries. But Sarai was not like others of her kind. She carried the hope of peace and change in her heart, and she was determined to prove it. Her days were full. She studied human history and culture, learning the stories that shaped Earth's people. She trained with the military, learning their tactics and discipline. At times, she felt like a stranger, caught between two worlds. At night, when the city lights flickered and the stars shone above, Sarai would stand on the balcony of her quarters and look up at the vastness of space. The war had been terrible, but now something new was possible. One afternoon, Helena invited Sarai to join a meeting with Earth's top scientists and strategists. The room was filled with maps, screens, and data streams showing the current state of the galaxy. Helena explained, "Princess Sarai has information that may change everything we know about the Zarnathi and the future of our people." Sarai stepped forward, her violet eyes shining with quiet confidence. "The Zarnathi are not a simple enemy," she said. "We are a complex people with many factions. Some seek peace, like my father, but others believe only in power and conquest." She pointed to a star system on the holographic map. "This is the heart of the Empire's loyalists. They do not accept the king's surrender. They plot in secret, waiting for a chance to strike back." The room grew tense. Helena asked, "What do they want?" "To destroy what they see as weakness," Sarai answered. "They see my presence here as a betrayal. They want to take me back or worse." A strategist named Dr. Marin spoke up. "If they are so dangerous, why haven't they attacked yet?" Sarai shook her head. "Because they wait. They watch. They believe that by patience, they will find a way to break the peace. Helena looked at her with concern. We need to prepare. As the days passed, Sarai became more than just a guest. She became a valuable ally. She shared knowledge of Zarnathi technology and tactics that had once seemed impossible to understand. With her help, Earth's defenses grew stronger, yet the shadow of danger never left. Secret messages warned of spies and assassins. Helena and Sarai often met in private, planning how to protect the fragile peace. One evening, Sarai received a message from an unexpected source, an old friend from her home world. The message was simple but chilling. They come closer, trust no one. Sarai's heart tightened. The loyalists were moving. She shared the message with Helena, who immediately ordered increased security. But trust was harder to find than ever. Some humans whispered that Sarai might be working for the enemy. Others feared that her presence was a sign of more Zarnathi soldiers to come. Sarai tried to speak to the people directly. She traveled to cities and towns, talking to crowds and sharing her story. I am here to build peace, she told them. Not as a conqueror, but as a friend. I want to learn from you and to share what I know. Some listened, many did not. Back in the halls of power, the tension grew. One night, a powerful explosion rocked the research center where Sarai often worked. The building shook, alarms blared, and chaos spread. Sarai and Helena rushed to the site. Firefighters, battled flames, and injured scientists were helped away. This was no accident, Helena said grimly. Someone wants to send a message. Sarai looked at the smoldering ruins. They want to scare us, but they will not succeed. She turned to Helena. We must find who did this. The investigation began immediately. Security cameras were checked, witnesses questioned. But the attackers had left few clues. Days later, a captured spy revealed a shocking truth. The Loyalists had infiltrated Earth's own systems. They planned to strike again from inside. The news shocked the people. Fear spread like wildfire. Sarai held a meeting with her closest advisors. We must act carefully, she said. The Loyalists want chaos. We will not give it to them. Helena nodded. We will root them out. But we also must show the people that peace is stronger than fear. Together they launched a campaign to strengthen trust between humans and Zarnathi. Sarai visited schools, spoke on broadcasts, and met with community leaders. Slowly, the walls of suspicion began to crack. Meanwhile, Sarai trained harder than ever. She practiced combat skills, studied human tactics, and learned to use Earth's advanced technology. She knew that the threats from her own people would not stop. One night, as she practiced in the training hall, a shadow moved near the entrance. Sarai stopped and turned. Standing in the doorway was a young soldier, one of Helena's trusted guards. I have a message for you, he said quietly. Sarai listened as he spoke of a secret meeting of loyalists on a remote moon. They planned an attack on Earth's diplomatic centers. This is the last chance to stop them, the guard said. Will you come with us? Sarai's eyes flashed with determination. Yes, I will stand with humanity. Helena prepared a team, and together with Sarai, they set out on a dangerous mission to the remote moon. As their ship approached the shadowy surface, Sarai felt the weight of history on her shoulders. She was no longer just a princess of the Zarnathi. She was a symbol of hope, a bridge between two peoples. And in this mission, the future of peace would be tested. The small Terran shuttle slid silently through space, heading toward the remote moon where the loyalist Zarnathi had gathered. Inside, Princess Sarai sat beside Commander Helena Cross, her face calm but her mind racing. This mission was dangerous. It was more than a battle. It was a test of the fragile peace they had worked so hard to build. Outside the window, the gray surface of the moon grew closer, covered in craters and jagged rocks. The Loyalists had chosen this isolated place to hide, thinking no one would find them here. Helena checked her instruments. We'll land on the northern plateau. The Loyalists won't expect an attack from that side. Sarai nodded. They underestimate us because they see me as a symbol, not a warrior. That will be their mistake. The shuttle's engines roared softly as they prepared to land. Outside, dark shapes moved near the moon's surface. Enemy scouts. Ready. Your weapons, Helena ordered. We'll need to be quick and precise. The hatch opened with a hiss, and the team stepped onto the dusty ground. Sarai took a deep breath, feeling the strange gravity of the moon pull at her. This was enemy territory. They moved carefully, using the rocky landscape for cover. Sarai's eyes scanned every shadow, every movement. She felt the weight of her heritage and her new home both pressing down. Suddenly, a group of Zarnathi loyalists appeared, their weapons raised. A fierce battle broke out. Sarai fought with skill and determination, using a mix of human tactics and her own training. Helena was close behind, leading the team. Together, they pushed the attackers back. After several tense minutes, the loyalists retreated, disappearing into tunnels below the surface. Sarai turned to Helena. They have a base underground. That is where the real threat hides. Helena nodded. We'll follow them. The team found an entrance to a deep cave system. The air was cold and still. Sarai's heart pounded as they entered the darkness. Inside, they discovered the Loyalists' command center, a network of tunnels filling, led with weapons, communication devices, and maps of Earth's cities. Sarai studied the plans. They want to strike our diplomatic centers. They hope to destroy trust and bring war back. Helena's eyes were hard. We can't let that happen. Sarai turned to her team. We will shut down their network. We will end this threat here. The Loyalists launched a desperate counterattack. The tunnels echoed with the sounds of battle, shouts, blaster fire, the clash of armor. Sarai moved swiftly, leading her team deeper into the maze. She found the main control room and worked to disable the communications. Suddenly, a Loyalist leader appeared, blocking her path. You betray your own people, he snarled. You will pay. Sarai faced him without fear. I fight for peace. That is my true loyalty. They clashed, but Sarai's training and determination gave her the upper hand. With one final move, she disarmed him and secured the room. The rest of the Loyalists surrendered or fled. The threat was broken. Back on the shuttle, Helena placed a hand on Sarai's shoulder. You did well. You saved many lives today. Sarai smiled softly. We did it together. This is only the beginning. As they returned to Earth, Sarai shared more stories of the Zarnathi, of their history, their culture, and the mistakes that led to war. She spoke of hope, of a future where their two peoples could live side by side. Her words inspired many. The people of Earth began to see her not as an enemy, but as a friend and a teacher. Helena watched as Sarai grew stronger, not just as a princess, but as a leader. The bond between them deepened, built on trust and respect. But the galaxy was changing. Ancient secrets long forgotten were stirring. On Earth, scientists detected strange signals coming from deep space, signals that hinted at lost technology and power beyond imagination. Sarai listened carefully. This may be the key to our future, she said. The Zarnathi once ruled, with technology that could change worlds. Helena frowned. We must understand it, but we must be careful. Power like that can be dangerous. Together, they prepared to explore these new mysteries. The alliance between humans and Zarnathi was fragile, but growing stronger every day. As Sarai stood once more under the stars, she felt hope rising within her. The chains of the past were breaking, and new bonds were forming, not just between peoples, but between worlds. The war had tested them all, but now, united by mercy and trust, humanity and the Zarnathi faced the future together. Peace had settled over Earth like a fragile morning mist. For months, humanity and the Zarnathi, led by Princess Sarai, worked together to build trust. But beneath the surface, old dangers waited. One afternoon, as Helena Cross studied the latest intelligence reports, a warning flashed on her screen. The rogue Zarnathi fleet, loyalists who rejected King Zelthar's surrender, was gathering. Forces at the edge of known space. Their ships were larger and more powerful than anyone had expected. Helena's voice was steady, but firm. They're coming. They want Sarai back, and they want to destroy Earth if we refuse. In a crowded command center, the leaders of Earth's defense forces gathered. Maps of space flickered on giant screens, showing the approach of the Zarnathi fleet. The mood was tense. President Alvarez spoke gravely. We cannot afford to be caught unprepared. The peace we have fought for is at risk. Sarai stood beside Helena, her violet eyes sharp and determined. I will fight with you. This is our home now. The military began preparations for a full planetary defense. Ships were deployed, weapon systems tested, and soldiers trained for battle. Sarai joined the planning sessions, sharing her knowledge of the enemy's tactics and weaknesses. One evening, Helena and Sarai stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the stars grow brighter with incoming ships. Do you think we can stop them? Helena asked quietly. Sarai looked out at the dark expanse. We must. If we fail, all we have built will be lost. The Loyalist fleet moved swiftly, crossing the outer borders of the solar system. They sent a message, a demand for Sarai's return and Earth submission. Helena's response was clear. We will never surrender. We will fight to protect our freedom. The battle began. In space above Earth, fleets clashed with blinding energy and thunderous explosions. The Loyalist ships fired massive weapons, but Earth's forces fought back with courage and skill. Sarai commanded a squadron using her knowledge of Zarnathi battle tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. Her voice was calm but commanding over the comms. Focus on their left flank. Use the asteroid field to your advantage. Helena watched as Sarai led daring attacks, inspiring the soldiers around her. The humans fought harder because they believed in the princess who had chosen their side. Despite their strength, the Loyalists were relentless. They launched surprise strikes on Earth's orbital stations and communication arrays. In the chaos, a mysterious signal appeared on the sensors, an ancient Zarnathi artifact activating somewhere in the solar system. Sarai recognized it immediately. The crown of stars, she whispered. An ancient technology from our ancestors. It is said to hold great power. Helena frowned. What does it do? Sarai shook her head. No one knows for sure, but if it activates, it could change everything. As the battle raged, the signal grew stronger. Earth's commanders debated whether to investigate or focus on the fleet. Helena made a decision. We cannot ignore it. Sarai, you'll lead a team to find the artifact. Sarai nodded. I will not let it fall into the wrong hands. With a small crew, Sarai traveled to a distant moon where the signal originated. The surface was barren and cold, but beneath the ground lay a hidden chamber filled with strange symbols and glowing crystals. Sarai approached the artifact carefully. As she touched it, a surge of energy flowed through her. Images and knowledge flooded her mind. Memories of the ancient Zarnathi, their rise and fall, and a warning. The crown of stars is not a weapon, Sarai said. It is a key to unity or destruction. Back in orbit, the battle continued. Earth's forces were pushing the Loyalists back, but it was clear the war was far from over. Sarai returned to the Resolute and shared what she had learned. This artifact could help us end the war if we use it wisely, Helena agreed. We must be careful. Power like this can be dangerous in the wrong hands. Together they worked to unlock the artifact's secrets. It enhanced their technology, strengthened their defenses, and inspired hope among the people. The Loyalists, seeing their advantage slipping, launched one final assault. But the combined strength of humanity and Sarai's knowledge turned the tide. As the Loyalist fleet retreated, Sarai spoke to the crew. The Zarnathi have followed tyrants for too long. It is time to follow strength tempered with mercy. Helena smiled, proud. And that strength is us, together. The war was not over, but a new chapter had begun. Humanity was no longer just fighting to survive. They were becoming leaders in a new galactic future. After the last battle, the skies above Earth were quiet again. Ships drifted peacefully in orbit. and the people below finally slept without fear of sirens or warnings. But the fight for lasting peace was not over. It had only changed. Princess Sarai stood at the center of Earth's great council hall, surrounded by leaders from many nations. For the first time in human history, a Zarnathi had been invited to speak before all world governments together. She wore a simple blue cloak, not royal armor. Her message was not one of power, but unity. "I was born into a war that I did not start," she began, her voice steady and clear. "But I chose to end it. I stand here today not as a conqueror, but as a friend. My father, King Zelthar, saw the truth. Our ways must change. Together, we have begun that change." The hall was silent. Even the most cautious leaders listened. "We cannot go back," she said. "But we can move forward. Earth and Zarnathi must walk side by side, building, not destroying." There was a long pause, then slow applause. President Alvarez stood and nodded. "Let this day mark the beginning of a true alliance." From that moment, Sarai's role changed again. No longer just a warrior or a guest, she became Earth's ambassador to the stars, a bridge between two species. Together with Commander Helena Cross, she began a long journey to rebuild not just trust, but the very systems that had led both sides to war. First, they visited the remaining Zarnathi colonies that still followed the old ways. Many refused peace, believing Sarai was a traitor, but some listened. On the planet Talvan, a small colony of young Zarnathi gathered to hear her speak. She stood on a stone platform, wind blowing through her hair, and told them stories of Earth, of music, kindness, and second chances. "You do not have to follow the path of fire and steel," she said. "You can choose light." Slowly, hope began to grow. A few joined her. They signed the peace accords and promised to help build a better future. Meanwhile, scientists from both Earth and the Zarnathi worked to understand the mysterious artifact, the Crown of Stars. It was not a weapon, as many had feared. It was a knowledge keeper built long ago by an ancient race that once ruled much of the galaxy. Inside it were maps, lost histories, and technology no one had seen in thousands of years. Dr. Marin, Earth's lead scientist, was amazed. "This device holds answers to questions we've asked for centuries." But there was also a warning. One message written in a forgotten language translated to a single sentence. "When the stars awaken, darkness will follow." Sarai stared at those words for a long time. "What do you think it means?" Helena asked. "I don't know," Sarai whispered. "But I fear we will find out soon." Elsewhere in the galaxy, distant sensors picked up strange energy bursts from unknown regions. Ships sent to explore them disappeared without a trace. Some believed it was a natural event. Others feared it was something else, something ancient and dangerous. As the months passed, Sarai and Helena continued their work. They created a new academy where young humans and Zarnathi trained together, not as enemies, but as allies. One day, a group of students asked Sarai why she had left her. "Thrown to live among humans," she smiled. "Because sometimes the right choice is not the easy one. I chose peace because it is harder and more powerful than war. But peace always walks a thin line." One night, a deep space probe returned with disturbing images. A massive structure, drifting in the dark between galaxies. It was shaped like a spiral, glowing faintly. No one had built it, and yet it pulsed with energy. "It's not Zarnathi," Marin said, puzzled. "And not human, it's something else." Sarai looked at the images. Her eyes narrowed. "I've seen symbols like that. They were on the inside of the Crown of Stars." Helena leaned closer. "Do you think they're connected?" "Yes," Sarai answered. "I believe we've awakened something, and now it's watching us." Warnings spread through both Earth and the Zarnathi worlds. Though peace had brought calm, new fear was rising. What had they truly uncovered? Still, Sarai refused to back down. "This is our chance," she said in a meeting with both human and Zarnathi leaders, "to stand together before whatever comes next. We are not the same species, but we share this future. She proposed the creation of the Unity Fleet, a joint task force made of the best from both sides, soldiers, scientists, explorers, not just to defend, but to understand the greater mysteries of the galaxy. And the leaders agreed. As the Unity Fleet launched its first mission toward the ancient structure, Sarai and Helena stood side by side at the viewing deck of their flagship. "Are you afraid?" Helena asked. "A little," Sarai admitted. "But I'm not alone. That makes all the difference." Far out in the stars, something stirred, and the next chapter of humanity and the Zarnathi was about to begin. The Unity Fleet moved quietly through deep space. The stars outside were cold and endless, but the crew on board the flagship felt a sense of purpose. For the first time in history, humans and Zarnathi were traveling together, not for war, but for discovery. Princess Sarai stood at the front of the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the strange spiral structure in the distance. It floated, like a silent guardian, ancient and massive, its surface glowing with soft blue light. Symbols moved across its outer rings, like a forgotten language alive with purpose. Commander Helena Cross stepped beside her. "Still no response from the structure?" Sarai shook her head. "It's watching us, but it hasn't spoken. Not yet." Scientists on board studied the strange patterns. They believed the spiral was some kind of signal device, something meant to open or activate when the right key was near. Sarai looked down at the crown of stars in her hands. It pulsed gently with light, responding to the structure ahead. "This is the key," she whispered. "I can feel it." The fleet came to a stop just a few kilometers away from the spiral. It was enormous, larger than a planet's moon. Its surface had no clear doors or weapons, just silence. Dr. Marin and the science team worked day and night, trying to understand how to activate it. On the 5th day, Sarai stepped forward and placed the crown of stars into a small port inside the science lab. A sudden wave of light shot across the ship. Every screen went black, then flickered to life. A voice echoed through the ship, soft and deep. It spoke in many languages at once, blending into perfect understanding. "You have awakened the memory of the first stars. Who among you carries peace, not conquest?" Sarai stepped forward. "I am Sarai of the Zarnathi, daughter of King Zelthar. I carry peace. I bring the voice of two worlds." The voice paused. Then, slowly, the spiral structure began to change. Panels opened, lights shifted, and a new pathway appeared, leading into its core. Sarai and Helena were chosen to lead the exploration team. They suited up and entered the ancient gateway, stepping into a place unlike anything they had ever seen. Inside, the air was clear and still. Holographic walls showed moving stars, galaxies, and time itself flowing in spirals. The group walked, carefully surrounded by glowing symbols and images of distant worlds. "This place is not a weapon," Helena said. "It's a record, a story left behind." They reached the heart of the structure, a large chamber with a glowing sphere floating in the center. The voice returned, now calmer and more personal. "We are the architects. Long ago we shaped the stars and watched over life. But our time ended and we left this behind for those who would come after." Sarai listened closely. "You carry the burden of war," the voice continued, "but you also carry the hope of peace. This key, the crown of stars, was not meant for rulers or soldiers. It was meant for those who choose unity." The sphere glowed brighter. "You have passed the first test." Suddenly images filled the chamber. Hidden worlds, lost knowledge, and warnings. A dark shape moved across the stars, an ancient force, older than the architects, drifting toward known space. "What is that?" Helena asked. "A danger left untouched," the voice replied. "It awakens when light returns. You must choose, hide in fear or stand in unity." Sarai looked at the images, her heart heavy but clear. "We choose unity." Outside the structure, released a final signal. a map showing where the darkness would arrive and when. The Unity fleet returned to Earth, bringing knowledge and warning. At first, many were afraid, but Sarai stood before the world once more and spoke with strength. "Have found something greater than ourselves," she said. "It is not an enemy, we understand, but together we can face it." Helena joined her. "This is not just about Earth or the Zarnathi. It's about all of us. We stand stronger together." Over the next months, humanity and the Zarnathi formed new teams, shared technologies, and prepared defenses, not to conquer, but to protect. The Unity fleet grew larger. More worlds joined the cause. A new banner was raised, not of a single nation or species, but of peace, courage, and unity. Sarai often stood at the academy, watching young cadets train together, human and Zarnati alike. She saw what her father once dreamed of, a future where no child would grow up under war's shadow. One evening, as the sun set over the earth, Helena and Sarai sat together on a quiet hill. "Do you think we're ready?" Helena asked. Sarai smiled gently. "No one is ever truly ready for the unknown. But we're no longer walking alone. That makes all the difference." Above them, stars blinked into view, each one a promise of what still lay ahead. And in the silence between them, the future began.